covenant in crisis. And so much of the Old Testament that we're familiar with is actually that context. Israel has betrayed the covenant relationship. And we talked earlier about how marriage is an apt metaphor for this covenant relationship. God is the husband and Israel is the bride. And what we see again and again with the prophets is this recognition that Israel has betrayed her covenant partner. Israel has not kept her side of the covenant promise to trust and obey God. And faith, it's interesting, it's not just that Israel disobeyed, but again and again from the law forward through the prophets, Psalms especially, we see that Israel is called out for a lack of faith, not just a lack of works, but a lack of faith. And where there's a lack of faith, obviously, idolatry and all the rest comes in. And so we see the covenant in crisis in that God has promised to be a covenant partner. You're my people, I'm your God. This has been true all along. And yet here, Israel is going back into exile because they have betrayed their God, their covenant partner. And so all the prophets really, and even the books of history are all kind of set in this context. Going back to Joshua and Judges, we see this problem, but it really comes to its sharpest focus with Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel, who are at different stages of the exile. Isaiah, a little bit before it happens, he's warning that it's going to happen. Jeremiah has got his feet on both sides. He's saying it's about to happen, and then it happens, and he's actually part of that exile story. Ezekiel and Daniel, these are books that are written from people that were actually in the exile, and so many of the minor prophets also are after, Nehemiah and Ezra are after the return from the exile. So what's beautiful about this, even though the covenant's in crisis, what we learn about our covenant God is he's just relentless. He will not give up on his covenant people. He is faithful even when they are not faithful. And that's what Nehemiah tells us, that God's character and God's love that was revealed, self-revealed at Sinai, is I'm a compassionate God. I'm gracious. I'm long-suffering. I'm full of loving kindness and faithfulness. This is a characteristic of God, but he wants to be a characteristic of his people, but his people again and again have shown that they're not that. And so this throws the covenant story in crisis. What now? What's next? God's people are exiled. God's people are coming back out of exile, and there's a kind of renewal. But what does the future hold for the covenant story at